Hi everyone, this is Neel Raithatha, also known as the Wax Whisperer. Thank you for joining me in my latest video. This is of a patient who attended reporting a blocked left ear, and that was their left ear, just on screen a moment ago. And this is their right ear, so you can also see that their right ear is also blocked full of earwax, but it's this left ear that was causing them the extremely poor hearing, a bit of otalgia, so earache, and they were also reported some tinnitus. So tinnitus is any sound that originates or is perceived inside the ears or the head. So in other words, it's not an external sound that you're hearing, it's an internal generated or perceived sound. And there's 1,000,001 causes for tinnitus. Earwax can be one of those. So by removing the wax, sometimes it can help people with tinnitus. But as I said, if you do suffer from tinnitus, don't assume it's wax. I would recommend to seeing your doctor, GP, nurse, local audiologist. We do get a lot of phone calls after I mention tinnitus on a video, for example, and people who are suffering from tinnitus for many years, and they're not sure if it's wax. So the first thing, just go and get your ears examined first. And of course, if it is wax and you want to come visit and for me to remove it, do come along, we can do that. But we just had quite a few people that attend who don't have wax, and their tinnitus is sometimes we just don't know the cause of why people develop tinnitus in the first place. So now, if you are suffering from what we call unilateral tinnitus, so tinnitus in one ear, or asymmetrical tinnitus, so tinnitus would be more apparent and more definitely more noticeable in one ear compared to the other. So you have it in both sides, but one ear is worse. Or you suffer from pulsatile tinnitus. So it could be cardiosynchronous, so in rhythm with your heartbeat, or non-cardiosynchronous sometimes as well. I would get that checked by your doctor as well, because that may need onwards ENT referral for further investigation. So now with this patient, it was due to their tinnitus, and they obviously had their ears examined prior to coming, and it was really lodged. They were guilty of using cotton buds. The patient's quite open about it, so they won't be moving forwards, thankfully. And they really pushed this right up against the eardrum, and they've been also using hydrogen peroxide drops, which, if you've been watching my channel, it's not a drops that I'm particularly fond of, because hydrogen peroxide drops turns the wax really mushy and glutinous, just like in this particular patient, but sometimes even worse. There's just a little bit of staining there on the anterior recess. We could leave that, but I'm just going to hover over it. If it comes away, brilliant. If not, we'll just leave that. It's not going to cause them any problems. This part of the ear is a very difficult part of the ear to gain access to, and we just want to avoid touching the anterior canal wall, so that the bony part of the ear canal to the left, because it's very sensitive. And I'm just going to mop up on the outer third, the cartilaginous portion. So again, it's just a bit of staining that will dry up. So the way hydrogen peroxide drops work, as they enter the ear, they react with an enzyme called peroxidase, which is secreted by the ceruminous gland, which is a modified sweat gland in the ear. And when it reacts with peroxidase, hydrogen peroxide converts from a liquid partially into a gas, so into oxygen, and during that transformation phase, we get effervescence, so we get a bubbling, mechanical foaming. So quite often, if you use hydrogen peroxide drops, you can hear it fizz and buzz in the ear, and that's just the hydrogen peroxide drops partially turning into a gas, into oxygen. And that effervescence is designed to break up little skin cells that form the majority of a skin plug, around 60%. And hydrogen peroxide also then converts into water. Dead skin cells in the wax plug absorb the water, they swell, they overhydrate, and then the cell membranes burst, they rupture, the banks rupture, which can help also then break up the skin plug. Problem with hydrogen peroxide drops, it leaves the wax really mushy, glutinous. It makes it more difficult to suction. Hydrogen peroxide drops, although it's antiseptic, but being alkaline, water-based, it can macerate the skin, and that's lining the ear canal, and partially breaking down the skin that's lining the ear canal, so we don't really want that. And the alkaline nature of hydrogen peroxide drops changes the pH of the ear. The ear is naturally slightly acidic, and the acidity helps to inhibit certain bacterial fungal growth, so it helps to prevent an infection. Also, the acidity is a natural insect repellent, so by increasing the pH level of the ear, which is what hydrogen peroxide drops does, it turns the ear from an acidic into a less acidic, and even sometimes an alkaline pH. So that's why I'm not a big fan. Now, they're right here, they hadn't been using any drops, and in fact, I'll say quantity-wise, there's a lot more wax here. This plug eventually came out in one large plug. It was quite a matted plug, loads of, as well as skin cells, dry matter that's forming this. So earwax, if you think about the plug, you've got the meshwork. So 60% there or thereabouts, and we're talking about Western earwax, where the 60% earwax and 40% oily sweats and lipids. Far East earwax is more skin oriented, so I'll say 80%. It's a bit more of a dry type of wax. But the core of a wax plug is dry matter. So when we say dry matter, we mean exfoliated skin cells that are lining the ear canal, hairs, and other debris sometimes that enter the ear from the environment. So they provide the structure, the scaffolding, the meshwork of a wax plug, and then you get the oily sweats and lipids, then secreted by the glands, various glands, the sebaceous glands and the modified alpochlorine glands, also known as Ceremonia's glands. And these oily sweats and lipids fill in the meshwork, it fills in the gaps, and that's how you have an earwax plug develop. So you can see all the hairs here. Now, this is really large, and you're going to see me in a minute. I'm going to come out and I'm going to go to the posterior canal wall. So to the left, the back part of the ear canal, and I'm going to loosen it from there. And once I loosen it, I'm going to slowly bring the wax plug out, and I'm going to curl it around the ear. So the patient, all of our ears are bendy. It's a sigmoid shape, so like an S bend. So the first bend is about 0.5 centimetre into the ear. The second bend is another 0.5 centimetre into the ear. And it's there for a reason. The bends in the ear are important. They help to protect the eardrum. So if you have a sharp foreign body enter the ear, it's going to have to navigate the two bends of the ear canal prior to approaching the eardrum. So the bends help to protect trauma to the eardrum from foreign particles that may enter and may be harmful. But then it's sometimes difficult to remove wax because you have to circumnavigate the wax around the curvature of the bends, which you can see I went from left to right, just at the entrance, and then from right to left. This is the first bend I'm trying to get it around. And there we are. This is quite a sizable piece. At the end of the video, I'm going to put it beside the tip of a pencil so you can get some perspective. Now, this is really uncanny. I mentioned it to the patient. I goes, they're right here. It looks like my eardrum. Eardrums are very distinctive, and the ear canal itself, mine's is probably a bit more hairy around the edge, but it's uncanny. It just looks very similar to my eardrum. Even the shape of the eardrum, it's not as you can see, it's not a complete circular disc. It tapers and narrows at the top superiorly. So yeah, it's a bit of a deja vu there. So I'm just mopping up around the edge. Again, we could leave this. It's not going to cause much of a problem. Now, we're on the cartilage portion, so I can put a bit of pressure here. Think about the ear. The outer third is what I call the safer zone, and the inner 2/3 is the danger zone. You've got to be careful. You don't want to make contact with the bony part of the ear because it can be uncomfortable. I'm just trying to lift that off the base. There's a few hairs there as well. It was a big difference with the patient. They've probably had this for a while. Ironically, the patient heard about me in the pub. One of their friends noticed that he wasn't hearing as well, and they heard about the clinic. So, but it transpires that a lot of people in the pub are having problems with their ears, presumably due to earwax. They feel, so the patient was almost like a guinea pig. They're going to say, I'll go visit first and feedback. So they're very happy. So I should be getting some the gentleman's friends, colleagues, no doubt booking next week. So that's the wax plug. You can see all the hairs that are matted and providing the structure. It's quite dark earwax. We know the wax has been there for a while. It's oxidized. That's the right plug. So in the one that the second ear in relation to the tip of the pencils, you can see the size and shape of it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Take care, keep well, and speak soon. Bye.